Okay, so we're back. This has been a wild ride, but we still have a little ways to go. There's some other topics we'd like to cover, and one of the topics we want to cover today hits on where we left off in the last segment, which was when the community is silent, what are the ramifications? And part of being African is honoring our elders and seeking our elders' wisdom and knowledge and understanding to help us have some sort of direction in terms of which way we should go. So some of you might be thinking, okay, Sister Neff, you talked about how you were treated, you talked about how the lanes were treated, you talked about the lack of response that you got from or support that you got from the Straight Black Pride leadership and United Front and some of the other people that were in your circle, if you will. What about the elders? Did you talk to any of the elders, and what would that take? And so I want to address that. Is another really tough one for me to talk about because I did go to some elders immediately after this situation happened. When I say immediately, I mean within the same week. I mean within days of this happening. I called Baruti and Yah. And Walimu Baruti and Yah. Baruti. And I called them on FaceTime because I wanted them to see my face when I was talking. I wanted them to get every ounce of the emotional state that I was in so they would get a sense of the urgency and the desperation in my voice and in my spirit. And I talked to them and I shared with them everything. And I remember, Yah just looking so devastated, so concerned, like, oh my God. And they showed a lot of concern. I remember Baruti talking about how sometimes black men who are fighting in this movement, they have righteous rage, and that righteous rage gets misplaced and misdirected, and sometimes it gets directed at their families and the closest ones to them. And I remember hearing that, but at the same time, it didn't quite sit right with me because it just didn't. But they promised to follow up with me. They were going to, try to help me and be there for me as best they could. They were going to talk to Ayo. And so about a week later, I got an email from Yah asking me for the best email to, I think it was a text, the best email to contact me at, because they wanted to send some information that they've sent out to other couples who have decided to separate and have children, and steps on how to navigate that and how to still have productive relationships and whatnot. And so I was like, okay. And so I waited. A week went by, another week went by, and nothing came. And so I remember I reached out to Yah and I said, hey, I just wanted to double check, make sure you didn't send me, something, because there's a lot going on. I didn't want to miss it. I've been looking for this, this information you want to send. And I just want to make sure that you didn't send it in and somehow I missed it or went to my spam. And she said, oh, no, we haven't sent it out yet. We're still working on it. We're making some tweaks to it. We're going to get out to you shortly. Okay. That was the last time I ever heard from either one of them to this day. And what hurt me was shortly thereafter, not too long after that, I saw a flyer of Baruti doing, an advertisement of him that he was going to be doing a speaking engagement with Ayo. And it hurt because I said, okay, but I gave him some breathing room. I was like, well, maybe, this was planned long before everything happened and he's just trying to honor this commitment. So They need income and things like that. So, this is land. And I kind of chalked it up to that. And I think it was that one, something about I am a man. I think that was the one. I have to, we'll check the dates on the flyers and things like that to see. But I think there was still a part of me that didn't want to believe that I wasn't getting any support because Baruti, okay. And I know you are used to hearing me call him and preference his name with Baba and preference his wife's name with Mama. But you got to understand, for me, I was in a dangerous situation. And let me just back up. Baruti married Ayo and I. He officiated that ceremony before our close circle and before our mothers were there present. And he officiated that ceremony on ancestral land, on the land of Nat Turner. And so I had a special sense of respect for him and his wife. The only reason his wife wasn't there was because their daughter was pregnant and she was in her 9th month with one of their grandchildren, and it was important for her to be there. So I consider both of them my mama and my baba. And here I was in this dangerous situation, this desperate situation. And who did I call? I called my mama and my baba. I called them, listen to me, before I even called my own biological mother. And I have not heard from them since. I don't even know how to put that type of disappointment in words. I don't know how to put that. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know. All I know is I can no longer call them my mom and baba, because a mother and a father don't abandon their children when their children cry out and they are in need. You don't do that. I'm a mother, so I know that. You don't do that. You don't do that. My biological mother, when she found out the truth of what was going on, when she heard what was going on and she heard desperation in her daughter's voice, she had a little conversation with Ayo. But he ain't never gonna forget. He ain't never. He don't even want to see my mother. My mother. See, I had to be reminded by the Creator and by the ancestors of who my mother was. Not my mama and my baba in the African Center community. My mother, my mama, who has now decided to retire early from her job and move here to be with me, to help me, her daughter, in her time of desperation, in her time of need. That's what a mother and a father does. That's what they do. That's what they do. I've read, I think, every single word that Baruti ever wrote. Had books upon books upon books about Iwa, about character, about our African Holocaust, Every time a book come out, I was putting it out on Facebook. So same thing I did with United Front, same thing I did with Bomani. I'm supporting. Been down to their house. Had conversations with them. When Baruti's back was out, I'm at home telling Ayo, we got to somehow find the money so that we can pay for a flight so that the brother who healed his back up in New York can fly to Atlanta to cure Baruti. We got to pay that because that's our Baba. He's in pain. Why we didn't have the money? But it's so funny because I was talking to Baba Ile and Sister Tazara, and they had the same idea. They were trying to get the same thing done. It just didn't manifest. But that's how much I cared about them. Why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to me? I never did anything to y'all. I never did anything to you. I never disrespected you. And even in this moment, I would not call you out your name or say anything that you may have heard us say about other people. Why would you do that to me? I'm left with this question mark. And it's a cut that's deep on my soul that I got to carry with me. It leaves me not just untrusting of some African people, but untrusting of those who I perceive to be my elders. What is an elder? Not only did you not contact me, you were contacted by Tazara and her husband about this situation. And you chose, just like the straight Black Pride leadership, you chose to be silent. You chose not to say nothing. And you see the condition. I didn't even... Baba Kwesi and Ashra Kwesi will still be... Baba Kwesi and Mama Kwesi will still be my mom and Baba because I never told them. Honestly, I didn't tell them. I never called them and had a conversation with them. And I think it was more so because you married us. We chose you. I remember Baba was a little hurt by that. We chose you, Baruti. And I didn't call them, I think because after I didn't hear back from y'all, I don't think subconsciously I wanted to feel that pain again. Bearing my soul. Bearing this intimate details of this thing that I was going through with someone who would reject me as their child. Didn't we see you put this post out here recently, Baruti, about when you're having issues in your relationship, don't tell nobody. You keep it between your relationship. Don't involve other people because they'll try to destroy your relationship. What kind of message are you sending? As a so-called elder, what kind of message are you sending? If I didn't say anything, I would still be there. I would still be there. And by now, I would have got the fist to the face. It would have happened by now. There are situations I'm not talking about purposefully because none of y'all deserve all of my story at this point. None of you. But I know we were steadily marching to the fist in the face. The ancestors sent my son, as Tazara says, to knock on the door. Not once, but twice, to break Ayo out of that trance. And it slowed down that progression to that point just a little bit, just enough time for me to make that exit. Just enough. For him to calm down just enough for me to get out. But if I listen to you, Baruti, and your posts in Facebook virtual world, and I stayed, by now I would have had a fist to the face. And that is what your post is telling those sisters who are in this kind of situation right now. Those sisters who are scared to leave and don't know who to tell. They don't have money like I did. Maybe they don't have a job where they can afford to pack up the children and run and get a new place. They don't have it. They're depending on that man financially to take care of them and their children. And they're thinking, man, if I call the Barudis and tell them what's going on, they'll help me. Then you put out a post like this. See, I followed African protocol. Everybody listening, I followed it. I called the Barudis first. My so-called elders, my so-called mama and baba, and asked for help. I got nothing. I went to my African village, the Straight Black Pride family, the Straight Black Pride leadership, and asked for help. I got nothing. So I was forced, not by choice, I was forced to go to what we have labeled as Negroes. The unconscious, the lost. I was forced to go to them. And they helped me. Can you believe that? They heard me. They heard my pain. They looked at both sides. They gave Io a fair opportunity to state his case and state his truth. And they didn't believe him. But you did. And you're supposed to be African. We're supposed to be better. We're supposed to have more knowledge of self. We're supposed to have more connection to our ancestors. You got books upon books upon books upon books upon books upon books that we worship. And we hang on and cling on every single word and try to live by. And you left me alone. I can't forget that. I can never forget that. That's my life. And I don't know why you did it. I don't know what he told you. I can only imagine. I was sitting talking to Sister Tazara and Baba Ile. Do you know he told them that I got pregnant on purpose with our first child? What kind of African man who was supposed to be standing on my aunt would say such filth about the mother of his children? All because he don't want to take responsibility for his actions. So I can only imagine what he has told you to make you say, we will never contact her ever again. And you believed it. And it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. You have this individual named Amina in the community, who I also used to preface with the word name mom, the word mama, from Philly. Called me up one day when I was answering the War on Horizon, a Straight Black Pride phone. I don't remember which one. Called up the phone, I answered it. We had a long conversation. She wanted to talk to Io. She saw him on YouTube. She was so impressed by him. I said, sure. Had a long conversation. He didn't want to talk to her at first, but he don't talk to people. He's too good to talk to people. I'm the filter. But I kept impressing upon him, she's an ex-Black Panther. She really want to talk to you. Okay. We talked to her. They hit it off. Next thing you know, they meeting for lunch. She's older. They meeting for lunch and, up in Philly and, then they, all the time. He's like, she's good. She's good. She's a really good person and she's an ex-college professor and blah, 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 blah. And here I was struggling with our children. I had to go to Jersey every once in a while. And I said, why don't we ask her to be the teacher for our children? Maybe she can help me homeschool them since she's retired. That was my idea. And as I met her, I was so excited because I heard so many good things about her. I wanted to talk to her. I said, maybe I can talk to her about, marriage and children. And maybe she'd give me advice. I was looking, see what I'm saying? That's how I know what these sisters right now are going through. When you yearn to talk to somebody about what you're going through so you can get some kind of direction, some sense of help. And I said, maybe I could talk to her. But from the first time I met her, that intuition kicked in again. That little gnawing feeling, something ain't right. Something ain't right. But I chalked it up again. She from up north. Maybe she don't really, she take a while. And she ex Black Panther. She might have a little hard edge where she got to get to know you. Da 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 da. Then all of a sudden, this is a long story. I don't have time to even go into. But I'll say it this way. She starts sending these nasty emails. Totally inappropriate. About what I should and shouldn't be doing in my marriage. And I was floored. Who the heck is she? I've never had these kind of conversations with her. Where does she even get off thinking she can speak to me like this? Like, I've never even had this type of intimate level of conversation. She's talking to Io. What is he telling her about me? When I was talking earlier in another segment about how I helped to pay for the decorations at the Straight Black Pride convention featuring David Banner that time, and there was a older woman who sent me an email and told me about how she was so disappointed because I was late, and how as the wife of the irritated genie, she expected me to be there early. This was Amina from Philly. I couldn't believe it. Where does this come from? I don't know you. I had to sit down with her and I said, let me tell you something. I'm taking care of my husband financially. I was there 3 hours before you even could stand in line to buy a ticket. Getting it ready for you to be able to sit down in those comfortable seats with that nice tablecloth and those beautiful direct decorations. So much so that I was late getting back home to prepare myself and my children. That is why I was late. Ask me before you judge me. You don't know my story. You're listening to somebody else who is telling you lies about the person that I am. And you're taking it as face value. And you're not even bothering to be an African woman or an African man to stand on for my eye and say, let me balance this thing out with truth on the scales. You were supposed to be my elders. And y'all disappointed me. And it hurts because I gave you reverence that I am ashamed to say that I gave you more reverence than I did my own blood mother. I gave my own blood mother because I thought y'all was African-centered, and I thought y'all had knowledge of self, and I thought y'all was different, and I thought y'all was so much better than my own mother. I'm ashamed of that. Huh? I'm ashamed of that. Because my mother ain't conscious? Because she ain't going around screaming a BB for Hodie? Which nobody would know. By the way, it wasn't for the fact that I put together the first Nat Turner Day where you, Baruti, uttered the words a baby for Hodie, and I paid for the production of that event in which Njama put it together so eloquently in a film production that everybody, and then I started stating it every Sunday of my show when I was in Philly, a baby for Hodie. We're going to start saying a baby for Hodie, a baby for Hodie. Now every damn body's saying a baby for Hodie. And you listeners don't even know that. And you leave me out there. How you do that, man? How you do that to me? How you do that to me? This is my pain that I gotta deal with. These are the ramifications of silence. These are the ramifications of silence. NYC chapter. You don't move in silence. Silence creates consequences. And here we are. This thing that could have been dealt with in 2018 with a simple, I'm sorry and I apologize to my wife and I apologize to my community. I have destroyed my family. Has morphed itself into some ugliness. I don't want to hear from nobody about what me and Tazara and Bob Ely shouldn't have, couldn't have, shouldn't have done, and we shouldn't have said it this way, and we shouldn't have said it that way. It's too late for that. Y'all had a year and a half to say all you wanted to say. And your silence has ramifications. And I'm done. And I'm done.